All right, everyone, so this is how you change a thermostat on a 2011 Plus Charger RT. It's a 5.7 HEMI. Make sure the car is completely cool to the touch. It can't be warm at all. If you are going to be doing it a little bit warm, just make sure you open the cap and release any pressure that comes out. And if you do it while it's too hot, what's going to happen is that the reservoir is going to start blasting out coolant. So just be careful, guys. Make sure it's cool. Also, make sure you put something at the bottom there. So first thing you want to do is unplug the intake manifold right here. Just a simple plug right there. And that's basically the only thing we have to do to make sure we have complete access to these two bolts here. All you need is a 10 mil bolt, and it'll take off both of these on the side. I actually have a different kind of bolt here, so disregard that one. There we go. We already have coolant leaking out. All right, now we have both bolts out. Again, it's going to leak quite a bit of coolant, not too much though. And just really quick, I'm going to pull it right off. There you go. Leaked out the rest of the coolant. Just be careful with your hose. Make sure you don't kick it too hard. Especially if it's old, it might crack, but that's probably never going to happen. These gaskets, you can reuse them, especially if it's quite as new as mine. Mine's pretty new here. And there's some more coolant getting out again. And this is the old thermostat. This one is a 203 temp. You can also get a 180 temp thermostat, and that's what I'm going to be changing mine to. And one thing as well, when you reinstall it, make sure this pin is facing upwards. So it's going to be just in like that, facing up. So I'm going to put that in there just to stop any more coolant from coming out. Alright, so we have the new thermostat here. This is the 180 one. And this is just going to be a temporary one for me, guys. So what I recommend is not to be cheap. Well, like I was saying, don't be a cheap because these Duralast ones probably don't last very long. So this is just a temporary one until I get my actual one in the mail. And as I'm seeing this, it actually didn't even come with the seal, but I'm too lazy to go back, so we're just going to reuse the old one. No biggie there. So here you can see this is what the seal is supposed to be. Just a little gasket that goes over the thermostat, and this one didn't come with it even though it says it does. So let's just transfer it over. There we go. So now we have the seal back on. So again, this is the 180 thermostat and this is the old one. They usually say it on the bottom. For some reason these don't. So once again, when you're reinstalling the thermostat, make sure this little hole up here, this little pin is to the top. Exactly like that. Usually these won't leak even without a gasket, but I do recommend you get one. So now we have everything in place. Let's just get our bolts back in. Start these with your hand so that you don't risk cross-threading any of them. Right, now I'm just going to put it to 1. You can torque these down. I'll put the torque spec on the screen. Personally, I just tighten it down nice and good. So now we have that. All we need to do is refill the coolant. So to put the coolant back in, it's actually quite simple. You need a Torx bit to unscrew this little plug right here. So mine's a Torx bit. This is actually a hex bit that's in there, but I don't have a hex bit. I'm gonna get that out. And just like that, we have an opening. If you have the OEM coolant, you can either get the Mopar one or this one right here, which is the purple one. What you want to look for right here is organic acid technology and approved for MS12106. That's only if you have the original coolant in. If your coolant is orange or green or another color, just make sure you look into what type of coolant that is. But the OEM one will be a purple coolant. So let's just cap it up. All right, now that we have all that, so all I'm doing, putting 2 hands here, pushing out as much air as I can, and letting it go to suck coolant back in. So I'm going to overfill the reservoir just a bit. So we have it about right above the cold fill line. Let's just go ahead and replug the intake right here. little intake plug. There we go. Now let's get the vehicle started. So let's start it up right here. Should run right up. There you go, coolant temp low. It's all good. Just right there on that startup, it already went down quite a bit. So I'm gonna put some more in. And once again, I'm overfilling it a little bit. All right, and I have just enough to fill it up all the way to the top. So now what you want to do is close it, because if you let it get too hot while the cap is still open, it's going to come flying out. So now I capped it right there. All right, we have the tools out of the way. Once again, make sure the cap is all good. Make sure you have no leaks right here. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to take it for a test drive, and let's see how it performs. So now we're taking it for the test drive. Just look at your needle right there. The needle right here, and make sure that it doesn't get past the halfway points. So at idle temps, it should get a little hotter. It'll get to around 217 before your fan kicks in, because even though the thermostat opens at 180, it can only do so much unless your fan is spinning, your radiator fan. As long as that needle right there doesn't get past the second line, so you see the halfway point, the line after that, as long as it doesn't get past that, then you have no real issues. But yeah, as you can see here, I'm idling, so it's going to go up a bit as you're driving. There's air flowing through the system, you know, through the front, cooling down the radiator and cooling everything down. But if you guys have any questions or any comments or concerns, just go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it, and yeah, leave me with your questions. Have a good one.